Hey, welcome to the Encountering God Stories live stream. I am very excited that you've joined us today. And if you want to just do something there in the chat, feel free to do that. I'd love to be able to acknowledge you. And remember, if you have any questions, if you have anything that you would like to say to Mary today, I'm going to introduce her in just a moment, or you have any questions, we want you to be sure and do those in the comments or the chats, and we'll be glad to respond. So as I have mentioned, with me today is Mrs. Mary Randall. How are you today?
Right. I'm great. How are you, Roy?
I am doing fantastic. So the whole point here is we gather people together and we let them just share some time that they encountered God.
Yeah.
So how have you encountered God as a mom?
Yeah, well, I think it starts from just the very beginning. I have four.
Okay.
And
so you're outnumbered?
I'm outnumbered, yes. But I have a great husband. He's a great helper. So, I mean, he's not the helper. He's a full-time parent.
Yeah, we can edit this if we need to.
we might need to.
We probably won't, but
no,
we could.
He's awesome. He's an awesome dad. So my first labor and delivery, I prayed really hard. I did not want an epidural. I'm one of those crazy women that wanted to be free as a bird and not be tethered and not have to worry about things, wires and all that stuff. So
I'm sorry, just as a man, I have to ask, but what about the pain part?
The pain part, I felt like I could manage. Women have been doing it for eons. And so I get it. I knew what I was kind of getting into, the worst pain of your life, right?
Okay.
But some women describe it as the most natural pain. Okay?
Natural pain.
Natural pain.
Not I don't think a man would ever describe it that way. So.
My husband says, you've never known the pain of a male headache. Okay.
Wow. So send your cards and letters to Ted at Northstar.Church.
That's right. Yes,
all you women who believe. I'm sorry, a male headache. Just to be clear, he equated a male headache with childbirth.
Yes, absolutely. Tongue in cheek, of course.
Wow.
So
okay, let's.
So anyway, I was I had a mentor at the time, Angela Martin.
Okay.
And she encouraged me to pray through the fruits of the Spirit, because one of the things I wanted to glorify God through this labor and delivery. And I didn't want to be one of those crazy women on the table that was just like, I hate you. What did you do to me? And just completely scary. So we prayed for the fruits of the Spirit. There's 9 of them: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Okay. And I prayed for every single one of them hard before that labor and delivery. And then labor and delivery happened. It's natural for the first time to be 12, 13 hours. And mine was 13 hours. And the last 6 were the hardest. That was active labor. My husband and I, we practiced our breathing. He did a great job. And I sometimes in between contractions, it was hard to catch my breath. So I would specifically pray for a gentle contraction. And I'm not kidding you. The Lord gave it to me.
Wow.
So I would still have that contraction, but I was able to just breathe and not do the coach calls, where you're just like on edge the whole time. So, I was able to do that. And that was really, really cool. What I did not realize was that after my baby was born, he needed the NICU. And all of those fruits of the Spirit actually that I prayed for, that's what God was preparing me for. So he was septic he had sepsis. Okay. And so the doctors, they just needed to kind of figure out which bacteria he had, create that little antibiotic cocktail. Okay. And they kept him for 10 days. So Ted and I had to leave our baby at that hospital, which was the hardest thing ever. But we had the fruits of the Spirit. We had, we were faithful. We were loving. We were kind. We were gentle with these nurses who we didn't understand what was going on. And they didn't always do a great job communicating, but we were patient. And so I was just so struck that here I had my plan and what I thought. And then God said, yeah, and it's more, So that was one of the the first ways in my motherhood that I really felt God's spirit.
So you're saying the encounter that you had with God was primarily around that he answered your prayer, that you are able to be patient and kind and gentle and all these fruits of the Spirit in a way that was more than you typically do?
Oh, absolutely. I would have been a freak show wreck.
A freak show wreck.
Yes.
All right.
I mean, your baby's in the hospital.
Yeah.
I remember there was a doctor who I think he was maybe from India, and he had an accent that I'm hormonal, I'm not myself, and he came in and he was trying to talk to us about maybe where Max got the bacteria from, and I could not understand what he was saying. And I'm just crying, I can't understand. And so Ted, this is where Ted shines. He's not typically someone with that gift of command.
Okay.
And he was able to look at me and go, stop. Just stop. I've got this. Trust me. I'm going to talk to this doctor and I will translate what is happening. And so he did. He did a great job. It was funny. We had this baby and you'd think that we would be like just completely in love with this baby. And we were. But that labor and delivery, we were such a team that we were closer than ever through that labor and delivery. I mean, we were thick as thieves. So.
Wow. So your connection with God, that was kind of unusual, that was an encounter. So as you just sort of relived that, as you sort of remembered God in your life at that time, would you say that in a sense, maybe a lesser sense, but in a sense of in some way you encountered God while you told that story right now?
Oh, well, sure. I mean, you know, my relationship with the Lord, I've never heard God audibly.
Okay.
I've never had this Damascus Road experience where it's just been like a healing or something, crazy happened like that. Mine have been more like, okay, I know myself and I know that was not from me. So after I had Max, I remember I'm trying to nurse him, and he nursed well the first time. The second time he was not nursing as well. The third time he really didn't nurse at all. This was all in the hospital, like hours after he was born. This was before he was put into the NICU. And I start just something in my spirit. Now, I was not a babysitting person. I was not a baby person. I was close with my nieces.
Okay.
But it was only after they were potty trained. Okay. So I'm just not a baby person. But for some reason, there was something in my spirit that said, this kid's not okay. He had this weird shallow when he was breathing. And so I called the nurse in. They came, they checked him. Oh, he's fine. He's probably, he's a big baby, 8-13. He probably just needs some time to, whatever. I just didn't sit well. So I did what I was not supposed to do. I was told several times I was not supposed to do this. You do not take an infant outside of the room.
Okay.
Those nurses would not come and really listen to me. And so I did that. I stood in the hallway with my baby until someone came and went, whoa, 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 what's going on? And I said, something is wrong with my child. I need you to look at them and I need you to diligently tell me, research that this baby is okay. And sure enough, less than 6 hours later, he was admitted into the NICU. So we caught it early.
Wow.
And that was not me.
So, all right. So this intuition, I think is a word that you called.
I think it's Holy Spirit.
Okay, that pushed you to do something you wouldn't typically do. You're saying is an encounter with God because it wasn't you, it came from God. So
absolutely.
Just like what was different about that than just like a random thought you have that made you sense like, okay, this is God?
Well, again, my gifting, that's not my gifting.
Okay.
I don't
You're not a break the rules, stand in the hallway with your infant kind of girl.
Well, not only am I not a break the rules, stand in the hallway, I'm an advocate. I am an advocate. So at that point, I'm advocating for this brand new life that I had just formally met, right? That it is Mama Bear.
Right.
But the fact that the Holy Spirit prompted me that something was going on, that has been a constant in that child's life. I can't explain it. You can ask Ted. Like, there's just 6 months after he was born, so now he's 6 months old, and just something wasn't right. Like, he wasn't nursing well. I remember talking to the lactation consultant all the time. Something's going on. She's like, no, I assure you, it's just he had a hard time from the NICU. He's okay. The antibiotics probably messed up his gut flora a little bit. So that's where the digestion problems are coming from. Well, from 4 to 6 months at his 6-month checkup, he had not gained a pound. That's a huge problem. And I had medical professionals looking at him at that 2-month period and telling me that he was okay. He wasn't. So we were able to go, okay, we're not nursing well. We're going to put him on formula, give him a bottle full of formula, lots of calories, and he plumped up and was happier and slept well and did all of that. At 11 months old, I started seeing it's not even delays because he hit all of his milestones, but something was going on that it just didn't sit right with me. So again, I'm advocating for, there was just an absence. He would make eye contact somewhat, just enough to make the professionals go, okay, I think he's okay. But at 15 months old, we took him for a formal, they tested him on 5 different, like cognitive language. I can't remember what they all stand for. Some of those tests, he tested on a 6-month level when he was 15 months old. So again, we got early intervention involved. We had occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, and just, another nurse that would come to our home. Her name's Victoria Morrison. She's local. She's wonderful. And just to work with him. And he blossomed. He's serving our country today. He's out in San Diego. Beautiful man of God. And so we're just so proud. But yeah, all of that, I had no business knowing that. It was God intervening on behalf of that child to get him the help he needed through a very uneducated person like myself.
Well, actually, you're in good company. I think in Acts it says that they were amazed at Peter and some other apostle guy because they were uneducated and ignorant. I'm only implying the uneducated part here. But they had been with Jesus.
That's right.
And so you're saying
that's what Jesus does. He takes the most humble, simple person and pulls out this wisdom that benefits all of those around him. And I can say that Jesus has done that for me. My kids have benefited despite my lack of education, despite my lack of knowledge of children or the world. I mean, I can't believe they let that hospital, every single hospital, let me take a child home. And I'm sure every mom can agree. I had no business taking those. I mean, I had never changed a diaper. I had never, done a lot of these things. They were just like, yeah, here you go. So.
Well, Mary, thank you for giving us the most Mother Day-ish encountering God story we've ever had.
Yes.
I can't remember that production guys, have we ever talked about lactation consultants to this level before? No, okay. All right.
Well, you're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And as we close, just let me say, please, you can encounter God. And whenever you need God, if you will be humble, if you will look to him, if, like Marty was talking about today, if you'll be connected with him, if you need to be led, if you need to carry your infant out into the hallway and wait there, regardless of the rules, the Holy Spirit will prompt you to do so if you want to be connected with him. So please go out, stay connected to Jesus, and you will make your own encountering God story. Have a great week and happy Mother's Day.